As a realtor, there is no excuse to ever not be ready for anything that comes your way. Why? Because it's always the same stuff.
Yes.
There are no surprises.
So the big question is this: how do most agents who don't have access to the secrets that the top agents in our industry hoard to themselves grow and prosper in today's real estate environment? That's the question. And this video podcast is the answer. I'm Pat Hyben, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars.
Okay, welcome Real Estate Rockstar Nation. I am here today, your host Paul Morris with Jeffrey Saad. Jeffrey is, among other things, a good friend, great guy. He has a tremendous view of real estate and luxury real estate. Came from the restaurant world, which is cool. I remember you moved to Los Angeles in 2001.
Good memory.
And you knew no one or almost no one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was my genius business plan.
Yes, good business plan. Good, bad business plan, lots of follow through.
Right,
There
exactly.
You go. Okay. So, and then you had a career on the Food Network.
Right.
You had your own show. You were in various contests that I watched you on. So it was great. So he's got a great on-camera presence, and you take that into real estate. But one of the things I think is super cool is that Jeffrey started from scratch in a new area and took his business to $1 million in net profit in 7 years. And I'd just like to know, let's start off with, how did you do that?
Yeah, well, it's like once you commit to something, sometimes you're like, all right, now I said it, now I got to do it. So we moved out here, like I said, a business where it's all about knowing people and knowing the place. My wife and I chose to move to a place we knew not at all and where we knew nobody. It's like, what did we do, right? But I was like, I kind of like this Bel Air area. This is pretty. And everyone's like, excuse me, so-and-so and so-and-so, I won't say the names, they own that area.
Yes, yep, very common for new realtors, correct.
And the second they said they own it, it just hit me. You and I have the same mold. I'm like, all right, that's it. I looked at them and I go, they're renting.
I love it.
So I just started, because I didn't know anybody and I didn't know exactly how the business worked. I actually got a suit on and a tie and went to interview at brokerages when I got my license. I thought you had to actually be like interview, I learned quickly that, no, they'll take you if you're breathing.
Yep.
So,
correct.
but I started not banging on doors, and that was my goal. I'm like, if I know that sellers live in their houses, so if I bang on enough doors, I'm going to meet sellers. And at the same time, it was a great way to get that tribal knowledge of the area, which is more important than ever.
Okay, I like that. Very interesting, tribal knowledge. I was going to ask you more about the door knocking, but tell me what's tribal knowledge?
Well, I think more than ever as realtors, you can't be the glorified host. Technology is a gift to great realtors and a nightmare for those that are not.
Okay.
Because people have kind of traded information for knowledge, which is a mistake, right? There's plenty of information out there, but as great realtors, we need to be the truth filters. We need to actually provide clarity and get to the truth, because the client has no lack of info. They've got their apps, they've got all the resources, but if they don't understand what I call the tribal knowledge, right, which is, for example, because you live on this street, you know how the sun heats up the side of this house.
Yes.
You know about the cut through traffic, whatever it might be, right? And those are the nuggets that are really adding value, because anybody can just go, oh, here's a house with 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. So, and that's why I love door knocking. You talk to neighbors, you learn about what's happening. Oh, they're going to be covering up that reservoir in 2 years because of the new Terrorism Act.
Yes.
Now you're bringing value to me, because I don't need somebody to find my house. I can find my own house. I don't need somebody to set up an appointment and show me a house. I mean, that's lovely, but that's not value. To me, as realtors more than ever, we need to exceed expectations, be their confidants, their warriors, and truth filters of that information.
Okay, so I definitely have the concept of tribal knowledge and really distilling that down as this is my real knowledge of the area, of the farm that I'm working, or that sort of thing. Can you tell me what would be some good steps for realtors to go out and let's say, they may not be brand new in their area, but maybe they're 4th or 5th in their area. How do they go from 4th or 5th to 2nd or 3rd or 1st?
Well, it's easier than ever because of technology, right?
Okay.
But in the beginning, for example, I said, okay, my goal is I will never have anyone ask me if I'm new.
Okay.
I said, all right, so how do I achieve that? Well, just because I'm new and getting my license, nothing is stopping me from memorizing the contracts and asking great questions. Nothing is stopping me from knowing the inventory. So I would literally go to every open house, Sunday, Saturday, Tuesday, whatever it was, brokers. I created files. Now it's all electronic. And I would put the property in there with my notes. Oh, backs up to a mountain, has the view, doesn't have the view, sun hits this side, southwest, east-west tennis court, whatever it was. And then I'd put my guesstimate of what it would sell for.
Okay.
And then I would go back and check myself. So I started building that kind of
Right.
mind database of my expertise. And the more I could know about inventory and the more I could meet neighbors and local businesses and start to understand the community, I could bring that value. So that, to answer your question very directly, the first step is master the inventory because nobody's stopping you.
Okay.
You can drive by a house anytime, day or night.
Yes.
Be careful with ring these days.
Yeah,
Don't be too close to the front door. But you could go out and look and see and understand what's going on in the neighborhoods. Brokers Caravan is another great opportunity. Anybody that doesn't go on Caravan every Tuesday, I don't understand how you can call yourself a realtor. Like that's our only chance to see the inventory, right? And what I do is I first say, all right, what clients do I have that need me? Okay, I got Paul Morris. He wants to be in Santa Monica. That's my first objective. Second, I say, what area am I going to always own? For me, for example, it's Bel Air. Okay, so I got to see everything in Bel Air no matter what. And then third, what's a new area where I can expand my knowledge?
Okay.
Let me go swing through downtown LA and start to understand some of the lofts. Because LA is a big place and real estate is big. You can't be an expert in just one area, in my opinion. People do it and it's great. I did it for many years. But we're experts in real estate, especially with the availability of information these days. So I think you want to constantly expand your horizons that way.
Got it. So backing up just a little bit to give our viewers an idea, what sort of volume do you do? What are your units? What are you doing now?
I had the 5-year break with Food Network.
Of course.
Basically, in 19 years, we're well over $500 million in sales.
Wow.
My wife and I.
Okay.
We've lost count. 50 houses a year is a good year.
Okay.
We're kind of blessed in real estate. You better work really hard because we are the only industry where you get constant free raises for doing no more work.
Yes.
Our clients keep getting wealthier. So guess what? Our average
Yes.
house now is $4 million, $5 million. So the same amount of work as somebody is selling houses, in the Midwest somewhere, you're making significantly more money. So you owe it to those clients to be better than ever. So, we can do less houses these days and still make more money because our average price is up as well, which is nice.
Correct. What's your number one source for listings, maybe outside of your sphere?
Number one, outside of repeat and referral.
Yes.
And outside of, geo farming, which is like a neighborhood. And then it would be open houses.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We've always done very well in open houses.
Okay. And so when you talk about open houses, you said outside geo farming. So what are you doing in your farm area?
Really nothing groundbreaking. You know what I love about real estate too? It's like you almost said, funny enough, like bad plan but well executed.
Yes. Yeah.
In real estate, we are blessed because it's not about what you do. Everyone's looking for, this postcard. You think, is my picture good?
Yes.
Should I make the picture smaller, Paul, or bigger?
Yeah.
Just send it out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It seems like that would be an important focus for sure, and
it's just not. What matters is I think Amelia Earhart said it. The best way to get anything done is to do it. Just do it.
Correct.
But consistency is the key. So all we do is consistently send a postcard out to all of Bel Air every 3 weeks.
Okay. So that's your farm. You've got Bel Air, and
Yep.
you're sending out one postcard every 3 weeks
Yep.
to your farm.
Yep. And we were doing some very focused Facebook type ads, which are no longer allowed. But so now email campaign is still a huge source for us.
Okay. All right. And are you still door knocking?
Honestly, no. I've gotten very lazy. I have, I've shifted the physical energy to mental energy because our database is so huge now.
Yes.
I've really been just grinding the CRM because those are the people that already love us.
Yes.
We've already shown them great results.
Yep.
And there's an abundance. It's like an endless gold mine if you tap into it. And it's amazing how many people don't. We just sold a house for a guy that we sold 17 years ago to him.
Wow.
You know, he was a kid.
That's cool.
And I've kept in touch with him for 17 years.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but I still do. The reason I say no is because I'm not being consistent, but I'll still do my drive-bys. Like, I'll just pull over and I'll say, like everything in life, just do the first door, and then sure enough, you'd end up doing 20.
Right.
Do the first push-up.
Right.
You'll
That's
do
right.
100 days like
Correct.
you.
Correct.
You know, but you just got to promise yourself, let me just do the first push-up.
Okay, got it. And so you started your business door knocking, and Bel Air, for people who don't know it, is a place that people literally would say you cannot door knock. The houses are behind gates, so there's a lot of energy, just like knocking the first door, right? It takes a lot of guts to get out there and knock doors. Why don't people knock doors? It's uncomfortable. So tell me about, like, how do you start? How many houses did you knock a day? And give me that rundown.
That's one of the most important questions, Paul, because what you said is so right on. And I'll never forget, because after a year of door knocking, I'm like, look at my wife, I'm like, I might as well be selling Bibles or something. I'm walking up the street in a suit, sweating. What an idiot. Like, what am I doing? I haven't had one sale. I'm banging on these doors for a year.
Right.
But like everything great that's happened in my life, it has started with mindset.
Yes.
And in that moment, when I was talking to her and talking to my real estate coach, I just shifted it. I said, you know what? I'm not the cheesy, sweating salesman. I'm the mayor of Bel Air.
Yep.
And I'm going to walk up this
like it.
street
I like it.
I own it.
Yes.
And I'm going to look forward to being a resource and to being these people's most valuable guy. And the day I knock and they're ready to sell,
Yes,
it's me.
there you are.
I am building an empire. And like once I shifted my mindset, it got really a lot easier. I walked, my shoulders were a little higher. I even sweat a little less, even though it was 90 degrees. You know, so you need to start here, like everything in life, for sure. And then after that, it's like what gets measured gets done. So I had a thing where I just had to do a minimum of 50 doors a day. And I knew that if I did 50 doors a day, a third of them would open, so I'd make about 15 contacts. And then my goal was always, how fast can I get out of there? Because I'm a direct guy.
Okay, that's super important. Okay,
Yeah.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are into this whole, hey, I'm bringing by some gardening tips, and you know, and like it's
Let's
like,
talk about gardening
here's mine.
for a half hour.
I knock, you answer the door.
Yes. Hi.
Hey, how are you? It's Jeffrey Saad, the neighborhood expert. I just wanted to see if this is the year you're thinking about selling your home.
No, I'm not selling this year.
Nice, but I've seen you around. You guys have been here a long time, huh?
Yeah, we've been here 10 years.
Very good. Good deal. It's a great place to be. I'm not going to convince you to leave. But when you're ready, keep in mind, Jeffrey and Nadia Saad. By the way, Paul, and I'll kind of walk away because I want them to know, like, this is over.
Okay, right.
Because nobody likes this.
Yes, correct.
But when you go like this, they tend to
like-
be a little more comfortable.
Okay.
Oh, anybody you know that could need us, friend that's looking for something in another area, we do stuff all over the city.
Okay, great. Well, thanks. I appreciate the brevity of the visit. No, but you know, and that's going to leave. Thanks for doing that. People knock on my door. I always find it very interesting because I'm going to say, hey, let me see what these people are going to say.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is a phenomenal tip to not linger.
Yeah.
Right. So
people are busy. Respect their
Yes,
time.
I
And don't
like
beat
it.
around the bush.
I like it. I like
Nobody
it.
wants to pretend that you're there to help them with gardening or to drop off tomatoes or. It's like, listen, I'm a real estate pro. You need help? Here I am. You don't? I'm out of here. I don't want to bug you. I don't want to waste my time either. Nothing is worse than somebody that invites you in to show you their book collection and the this and the that and the. I mean, it's great if it's a sincere connection moment, like, hey, we both love books or whatever. But otherwise, I don't want to spend 20 minutes there, and you don't need me there for 20 minutes if this is not what you're doing.
Right. So it's a very purposeful use of your time.
And respectful, like you
Okay.
said.
Are you leaving something behind when you go?
Well, that's the other big joke, right? People will spend all their time planning on what to leave to the point where they never actually make it to the door. You know, it's like, I got to have the whole package right. I just said, I'm pulling over, whatever's in my car, I'm taking it. But typically, what I would do, and I still have these because I use them at open houses and when I do knock, but it's a notepad. The front page of the notepad's a recipe because I'm also a chef.
Right.
And then the rest of it's a blank pad. Right. I put my card in there, and then I put a listing that we're marketing or a recap or a summary of like what's going on in the hood.
Okay, so we heard from Jeffrey that he was going from nobody to mayor of Bel Air, and one of the keys to that was door knocking. So I want to dial in a little bit and ask you about, we got a great script for door knocking, very simple, I like it. We've got a little body language for door knocking, that's great, I like it. The just do it, right? Don't worry about the stuff as much as just do the door knocking. So you were knocking how many a day?
50.
50 a day.
Yeah.
And that would take you approximately how long?
I'd bang it out pretty quick, hour and a half max, because again, my goal was quick at each door.
Yeah.
And 2/3 of the people aren't going to answer. They're just not home.
Right. Okay. When they're not home, you leave something?
Always.
Okay. Okay. I will ask. I know doing it is more important than the what, but tell me what you left.
I would always leave a pad, a recipe on the top, notepad underneath,
Okay.
so hopefully it had some value, business
Okay.
card, something that we were working on, like, hey, here's our open house this
Right.
Sunday, or some snapshot nuggets, did you
Right.
know type
Right.
bite-sized piece of info about the neighborhood.
Okay.
So
All right.
they-
So it's some information that's going to establish you as the mayor of Bel Air.
Exactly.
You're the information source for the area.
Exactly.
Okay.
Do the math. It's worth every single dollar. That's a title of a comment that I got on my certified listing agent course from Rebus University. It's from Bill Reeg. This is what Bill says. Bill says, looking to take your listing presentation to the next level? I've closed 100 appointments since I took Pat's certified listing agent course. 5 appointments, 5 new clients, 60 days. Boom. Do the math. It's worth every single dollar. Thanks, Bill. But listen, guys, I am offering this to you if you haven't already taken it, because so many brokers and teams make their agents take it before they do a single listing appointment. But if you haven't taken it, you can go to rebusuniversity.com and get it now. Now, here's the thing. For 30 days, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you that course. I'm going to give you the buyer agent course, which teaches you how to close every single serious buyer that calls on the phone or emails. The certified team agent course is taught by Jeff Cohn, one of America's top agents, on how to build a team from zero to hero to hundreds and hundreds of units every year, step by step. It's like a 12-hour course, plus 7 other courses. Yes, you heard that right. All for a measly $127 a month. If you were to go to Rebus University and buy these courses individually, it costs you over $10,000. But today, if you go to futureofrealestatetraining.com, that's futureofrealestatetraining.com, you'll learn what Bill Reeg did, which is how to close 100% of the listing appointments you go on. Quite impressive. And you'll learn all the other incredible details provided in the 11 5-star courses that are offered. Yeah, it's like all you can eat bazaar. You go in now and you pay $127 a month. If you can eat all 11 courses in 1 month, that's all you pay is $197. This is a bargain, guys. Get it now. Futureofrealestatetraining.com. Hey, Real Estate Rockstars, this is Pat Hyben, and before we jump back into today's content, I want to tell you about an extraordinary offer from an extraordinary company. I'm talking about My Outdesk. If you haven't heard of My Outdesk, basically they're a virtual assistant company, a VA company that specializes in virtual assistants for real estate agents. Yeah, I'm talking about transaction coordinators, marketing assistants. I'm talking about ISAs, inside sales agents that prospect thousands and thousands of seller leads and buyer lead follow-ups. I mean, these guys are trained in this stuff specifically. You're not using a company that doesn't know or understand real estate sales. 4 out of 5 of the top teams in the U.S. use My Outdesk for their virtual assistants. And because I know the owner, Daniel Ramsey, I've known him for over a decade, and I know how awesome and incredible this company is and how it saves agents thousands and thousands of dollars every single week and makes them thousands and thousands of more every single week. We are going to give you a $400 coupon off of your first month of a virtual assistant and give you a free book entitled Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. So you can read it and look into it before you decide anything. It's called Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. And you can get it real easy. All you got to do is text the word Hyben, H-I-B-A-N, to 31996. That's H-I-B-A-N to 31996 and download your free book, Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals. And don't forget to mention also that you get a $400 discount, which will give you a coupon for that when you download the book. Thank you, guys, and I hope you enjoy and make a ton of money using My Outdesk.
Okay, so you're doing 50 a day, basically 5 days a week.
Yep.
Okay. And I know you're a disciplined guy, so I would imagine you didn't miss many days.
Not many.
Okay. How long did it take for you to get your first sale from door knocking?
You know, there's something I always like to say, until you're sick to your stomach, nothing great's going to happen.
Wow. Okay.
If you're comfortable, you're going nowhere or you're headed down. So I kept reminding myself of that, and I was sick to my stomach because it was over a year, Paul. Over a year before I even got an inkling of a maybe. But fast forward, which didn't happen fast, 5 years, 6 years, 10, 12 deals. I mean, hundreds of thousands in income a year, which was now passive because of the time I put in. All of a sudden, they just call, hey, we're ready, right? Knock, and they'd be like, you know, I would joke because they'd be like, Jeffrey, and I'm like, they know my name. Like, once you know, they know your name, you know.
You're on the way to mayor.
You've gotten there.
Right.
And then, you know, we're not ready, but good to see you. But then all of a sudden it was like, we're ready. Let's do this. Let's do it. All of a sudden it's like, wow, it worked. You know, but it's never all eggs all in one basket, right? That was just part of my plan.
Okay.
So that way, you know, if you're putting all your eggs in one basket, well then, yeah, you can't afford to wait a year, 5 years for deals.
Correct.
But if you're making it part of a plan you believe in, then it each, you know, harvest sprouts when it's ready.
Right. So you knew that that knocking the doors, number one, was really going to give you knowledge of your area, and it was going to give you name and face recognition in that area. That's a really good plan to become mayor, even though this particular activity, which is, I mean, grueling, right? It's the
Grueling.
thing. It's one of the things realtors like to do the least, I think. And doing it an hour and a half a day, I love how really efficient you were with your time. I think that's a phenomenal tip. It's not something I'd thought about. You know, you want the people to answer, and you want the you're not going to sell their house right now anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big picture.
So you want the transaction or the conversation to go as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Right. Here I am. I'm Jeffrey Saad. I know the area. You know, are you going to sell this year? No. Okay, great. Let me leave some. Oh, wait. We hit them with the stuff first. I like that. And then on the way out, you're like, hey, in case you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell anywhere in the city, please think of us to refer.
Yep.
Okay, I like
And, you know, and I think it's more valuable than ever with our technology age because nobody is doing it.
Yes.
So it's another way to stand out. And there's two other nuggets you get from this. Number one, some exercise, never a bad thing.
Right, okay.
Number two, the tribal knowledge.
Yes.
Guess what? In our
Yep.
busy lives
Yep.
where you're
Correct.
flying down the street, your car, when you're door knocking, you're there.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you're noticing like the way the sun hits. You're seeing whose cars are there. You're noticing a storage bin going up. I wonder if they're selling. They're packing stuff up.
Wow,
You
okay.
start to appreciate and get visceral with the area. That's
Yes.
very different
Yep.
than being a flyby all the time.
Yep. And you know, you can't say enough about your consistency over time. I mean, I talked to a realtor, I'm not making this up, you know, I talked to a realtor and she's great, and she told me she did, I think, 40 houses the day before, and she's like, you know, and I got no leads. And there you go, it didn't pass the laugh test. I like it.
Yeah.
There's your answer, right?
Of course not.
Yeah, and I immediately thought of Jeffrey, and I was like, well, let me tell you, you know, I have a friend that, you know, went from 0 to $1 million net, not GCI, $1 million net in 7 years. And what I remembered was, you know, and he didn't make a sale from door knocking in 6 months. I didn't realize it was a year. So
But you know what else happens, and I know you're a firm believer of this too, Paul, which is one of the many reasons I love you, but it's the energy you put out in the world.
Yes.
Just by door knocking, you are telling the universe that you expect business. And, you know, as funny as it sounds, just door knocking, even if you didn't get the deal, it's getting you business.
Yes, yeah. You're out there saying, hey, you know what, I deserve this business. I'm here, I deserve this business.
Yeah.
And that's going to bring you business, even if it's not from that house, it'll bring you a business from your other areas, from your networking. Okay, so you mentioned technology. One thing that a lot of our listeners want to know is what's the best lead producing system out there, or what's the best phone app, or what are you finding out there in terms of technology that helps you?
The best lead producing system, which I think everybody's heard of.
Yes.
Just pick it up and call. It is just that simple. There never will be a better system than, hey, Paul, just wanted to check in. How you doing? Any real estate needs? What's going on? How's Sarah? how's this, how's that,
Yes.
touching base.
Yep.
Now, there are systems that make those calls easier. We have an in-house CRM that I use that I love more than ever. Every day it pops up. Let's face it, no matter how driven you are, if you get an email that pops up and says, call these 10 people now, it's a lot easier.
Yes.
And that's what I like, because I need to be pushed. I'm a huge fan of what gets measured gets done. So if
Yes.
this thing pops up every day and says,
Okay.
call these 10, I'm going to call those 10.
Okay.
So that's a good CRM is gold.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I've got the consistency piece from you, and I think one of the things that we really want to nail for our listeners is the what gets measured gets done, because you really get a lot of stuff done, and you're measuring it. How are you measuring it?
Ironically, I've gotten less and less at measuring it because I've been doing it for 20 years, and now I'm focusing more on bringing my best self and just deciding what's going to come to me. And that's another conversation.
Okay.
But for many, many years, over a decade, 12 years, I literally had a business plan, and I said, I'm going to knock on 50 doors. I'm going to call X amount of people. I'm going to sell this many houses. This many of them will be buyers. This many will be sellers. And again, it's not that it ever went like that.
Right.
But I do believe that I would hit my numbers because that was the intention I was putting out there.
Let me ask you this, because I know that you were one of the, I would say Jeffrey wrote the book on scripts, and well, I mean, the reason why I say that is because you were in a coaching program, you were a new guy, and you're like, hey, you know what? I remember, right?
Yeah.
You had the
Good memory.
right. You had
20 years ago.
You had the script cards, right?
Yeah.
But Jeff, the coach had the script cards, but
Yeah.
who wrote the script cards? And with probably 100 clients,
Yeah.
Jeffrey wrote the script cards. So
Yeah.
I remember
you.
that for sure.
Yeah.
And I know over time you've told me that your scripts have changed and modified. One of the things we do for the Rockstar Nation is we always have a gift. Every it's so generous for you to donate your time, but in addition, give a gift. And one of the things that Jeffrey said, certainly I was thinking about what would be great. I know you're king of scripts. He said, I'm going to give us the top 10 scripts and put that in the toolbox for us.
Yes,
So I
with pleasure.
Really appreciate that. Why don't you share with us sort of top 2 or 3 scripts that you're using right now?
Absolutely. Well, let me preface it by saying, as a realtor, there is no excuse to ever not be ready for anything that comes your way. Why? Because it's always the same stuff.
Yes.
There are no surprises.
Yep.
I say I'll have a room full of 100 agents, good agents, and I'll say, how many of you pick up the phone and are surprised by a call or not ready for a response? Most of them raise their hand. How can that be?
Interesting.
This is what we do every day. There are no surprises. So that's why scripts are so important. And think of scripts like a language. If you study the words long enough, all of a sudden it just flows and you're like, almost usted. You're not thinking, how do I translate how are you in Spanish? So if you make the scripts visceral to who you are, they'll start to morph into your own personality.
Yes.
But there's no excuse not to have the answer.
Yep.
So some of my favorites these days are with overpriced listings, right?
Okay.
And that's a whole pet peeve of mine anyway, because I think as pros, we need to get these listings at the right price and have the hard, honest conversation up front.
Yes.
Instead of taking the I'll take it at any price and hope for the best mentality.
Correct.
But even when you take it at what you think is the right price, sometimes it's overpriced. So the seller will be reluctant to change the price. And, okay, this is power. It has worked every time. I just go, Paul, you are going to hate me for this.
Okay.
The reason we're not selling is because you're still the highest bidder.
Okay. Right. I want to sell. I guess I don't want to be the highest bidder.
Yeah, and until you don't want the house more than everybody else, it's going to sit with no offers. And right now, this price is your price, and nobody else wants it for that price.
Is there something we could do to market it better? I see the Facebook, or I don't really know how it works, but a lot of these people are really marketing the house. Is there something we can do to market it better to get the price I want? What about the overseas buyers? I mean,
I can see you're feeling like you're just like reaching, right? Like there's got to be a way to get my number, right?
Yeah, correct.
That doesn't feel good. And it doesn't feel good when you see other people's houses selling.
Correct.
The truth, Paul. Do you want me to hold back on my expertise?
No, probably not.
You seem like we've always been straight with each other. The truth is, Paul, the whole world knows about your house. If there's a buyer, they know about your house. And that's the insights and logistics that we've talked about, and I've sent you. 8,400 people have already seen this house, clicked on it, spent a minute and 84 seconds on it. The only last thing they haven't done is written an offer. It's the price.
Okay.
How long would you like to be on the market before we get an offer?
I mean, I'd like to have sold it yesterday. I mean, I want to sold it yesterday at the price that I want, right? Of course.
I know. It doesn't feel good.
No, for sure.
And you're probably thinking, how did my agent price it like this? How did we get here?
Yep, yep.
What would you like to do now?
I mean, we got to sell the house, so I'd like your recommendation.
Let's do it. I think if we reduce to X, it's going to happen.
Okay. All right, love the script.
Yeah, but it's about...
You're the highest bidder. The script is you're the highest. Right now, you are the highest bidder on the house.
Because it's just the truth, and I think it's really important more than ever to preface all these scripts with trying to sincerely acknowledge how they feel.
For sure.
Call out the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I'll do that all the time. You must think you hired the worst agent in the world. Like, how can we not be sold?
Yeah.
Like, I'll just put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't want.
And then if you're saying it, then I'm not saying it. And as soon as I say it, I believe it, we're in trouble.
Yeah. And if you really believe it, then we need to have that conversation too. That's
Sure.
another piece
Okay.
of my script that I love, right?
Okay.
Is a lot of sellers do exactly what Paul just did, right? What about Facebook? What about that Chinese buyer I read about?
Right, absolutely.
And you have to acknowledge what they're feeling, which is they're feeling this sense of desperation that they're, everything's out there. And some people will take it further than Paul, and I'll finally say, it sounds like you may have feel like you hired the wrong agent.
Wow. So you have the courage to do that.
And you have to.
Yeah,
Because it's
okay.
what they're thinking anyway.
Yes, okay,
and people
interesting.
are always afraid that if you call out a negative, you raise the negative.
Yes.
It's the opposite. When
Yes.
you call it a negative, this
I
is a
believe
Chris
that.
Voss
Yep.
thing, which is really powerful. It's another nugget for your listeners is Never Split the Difference is a great negotiating
Yes,
book.
correct.
And you got to call that out, because then what I'll say, my follow-up, which is so great, is they'll say, well, could you be doing other different things, maybe we should hire another realtor. I'll say, well, let me ask you, Paul, what are you going to have that realtor do that we're not doing?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not the expert in the area. Maybe we hire somebody that sold a bunch more houses than you have, or who knows? I mean, I hate to, I appreciate your frankness, but, I'm going to be frank back to you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So if you're not sure what they should do differently, how are you going to know who to hire?
I mean, I don't know. I picked you because I know you're the mayor of Bel Air, right? But I do see some up-and-coming people that are a little younger. I hate to say it. Maybe they have their pulse on the young crowd that's buying some houses up here. I don't know.
So it sounds like a younger agent may be a better option for you.
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Because, see, I'm not fighting him, telling him he's wrong.
Yep.
What do you mean a younger agent? I'm going to experience it. No, I'm just going to get to the truth.
Yeah.
Sounds like, and if that's not what you're really thinking, but you're just, then I'll finally say to you, it sounds like you just need to somehow feel comfortable that you still got the right guy and we're moving forward.
Yeah, that's true.
What information could I give you to make you comfortable that you still made the right choice, and how do we work together to have a strategy moving forward?
Okay.
Lots of hows, lots of whats, lots of it seems like, and trying to understand where you're at.
Sure. Okay, I like that.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you can think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Rockstar Nation, thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to stay to the end, where our guests will be offering a free gift As you know, all of our guests offer a free gift, and all of these gifts can be found on the Agent Success Toolbox. You could find that by going to hibandigital.com/toolbox or simply texting the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox to 444-999. I am going to put today's free gift in today's show notes, but if you want all of them, including gifts from most of our guests that have come on the show, just go to the Agent Success Toolbox.
Hey, Rockstar Nation. So we were doing a little outtake when we took a break. Jeffrey was still on the, the door knocking script. So we caught a great live moment. Really appreciate it, and let's show you that moment.
I'm like, did you ask them if they wanted to sell? They're like, well, isn't that obvious? I guess not, because I have the listing.
Yeah.
Ask. And ask with a smile and back away with a no, but I'll be here when you need me. And by the way, I have great resources. You're ever doing projects, construction, let me know, call me, I've got it for you.
Cool.
Oh, but so-and-so was telling me about the dog parks. I don't know anything about dogs, sorry. I'll sell your house.
Yeah.
It's not, just be direct, be sincere, and be you. You've got a great smile, right? You have a great image. At the end of the day, it's a people business. It's about connection.
Yeah.
People appreciate sincerity more than ever. They appreciate the truth, and they value their time. And I even say that sometimes, like when they come in, I read their face. They look like they just got off the phone screaming at Verizon or whatever, right, or Spectrum. I go, you look like you're having a busy morning, and I am the last thing you need to see. I am gonna go, just want you to know I'm a realtor in the neighborhood. And then they quickly go, no, it's okay, right? But if I would have started off with, hey, and they're ready to kill somebody, guess what?
Yeah.
And I've had people that said, get out of here, you don't have an appointment, don't ever knock on my door. I go back in 3 months. I go back, and guess what? That same person goes, oh, hey, yeah, you want a coffee? Come in.
Yeah.
You're like, because guess what? We're all human.
Right.
Don't take it personally. You're there with one simple mission, and you're going to beat it to death consistently until your dreams come true and they get to win as well.
Cool.
And tell us the script again. Door knocking script.
Yeah, door knock script, right? Knock, knock.
Hi, how can I help you?
Hey, how are you? Jeffrey Saad, the local real estate expert. Just making my usual rounds. Is this your...
Dude, we're busy right now.
This is not what I want to be here then. You need me to get out of here. Just keep me in mind in the future. If you ever need to sell, I'm around. Jeffrey Saad. Take care. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt. But most times, the second I start doing that, they're going to go, well, actually, what? Tell me,
Yeah.
But it's really about being sensitive and reading. If they're doing one of these and they're on the phone, then I'm just like,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
I give them the pad and I just fade away.
Uh-huh.
And they appreciate that. But it's always, it's just consistency, and you can't be afraid.
Cool. Until they tell you not to come back anymore.
Yeah, and they never will.
Yeah.
And even with the one that said, like, you don't have an appointment, what are you thinking? My wife thought I was nuts when I went back to the house. And
Oh my gosh.
he was as nice as can be. We're all human, we all have different moods,
Yeah.
But if you're consistent, then you'll get them, when they're ready. And that's the beauty of it. It's not even like you have to say the magic just right thing. When they are ready to sell, if last night at dinner they were saying, what do you think, honey, should we do this? You're gonna get that conversation. You know what I mean? So otherwise they're just not ready. You're only hoping that you're there when they're ready, or when they are ready, they remember you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Okay, so Jeffrey hits it out of the park with scripts. So I'm gonna dive right in, because I know Rockstar Nation, you guys deal a lot with some of these tough questions. So we've got the commission is compressed. So Jeffrey, you did a fabulous presentation. I love you. You've been knocking my door for 15 years, man. I know you don't want to lose this listing, this listing opportunity. Let's face facts, okay? There's a lot of dumps on the street. I've done a phenomenal job. I have fabulous taste. I've done a great job here. This house is going to sell itself. So
It's a gorgeous house.
okay.
Yeah. Sounds like you're ready to talk about commission.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And you want to know how much I charge?
Yes, correct.
More than most people you'll talk to, and definitely more than you want to pay.
Okay. All right. Okay, because I talked to some other realtors, and there's a guy that he does his big LA Times presence. Uses a lot of print ad, which I know is expensive. He's doing a lot of. He's going to do the wine and cheese at my house, the whole
Nice.
bit. Yeah, right. And not the cheap stuff. And he's willing to do this house because this is a couple $1 million. He's willing to do the house at 1.5%.
You know, Paul, there are people that'll do it for less.
Yeah. I mean, I do want a professional. This guy's a professional.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like it's intriguing to you, somebody who sells the most houses.
Sure.
Are you interested in me getting you the most money for your house?
Absolutely. Of course.
So let me ask you, Paul, because listen, I get it. I mean, commission matters. This is a masterpiece.
Yep.
Every dollar you walk away with matters.
Yep.
You told me why you're selling, what's going on.
Correct.
Every penny is going to matter. And the last thing you want to do is give money away you don't have to give away,
Correct.
because that affects your net.
Yeah. And I love you. You do a good job. I got to
Thank
tell
you.
I think realtors are overpaid. I mean,
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
you
a
get-
lot. Let's talk about
Yeah,
it.
okay.
$2 million, 6%.
yeah.
I mean,
wow.
We're
Okay.
talking about $120,000 you're going to pay me. Well, of course, half of it goes to the other agent, but
Yeah.
it
Okay.
sounds like that's just something you don't even want to pay.
That's correct. $120,000 is not in the ballpark. I mean, what the other guy was saying was, I mean, admittedly, he was going to take 1.5 points. He was talking about 2.5 to the other side.
Right.
So we're talking about, we're talking about 4%. I mean, easy math. You're talking about 50.
40 grand.
Yeah, you're talking about, yeah, correct.
40 grand is a lot of money.
Correct. Absolutely.
So I get that. Would it be a stretch to believe that the net amount you walk away with is driven by the sales price more than anything?
No. I mean, we're still talking about a small percent, right? Yeah, correct. The total sales price is going to drive the money in my pocket. That's true.
And do you think that your house will sell for a fixed price no matter what? That there's a magical number out there it's already going to sell for, so all that needs to happen is negotiate the commission?
I'd probably sell it myself if I thought that realtors didn't add value. I don't disagree with that. My issue is my expectation, because you beat me up on the price already. Okay, I think the house could sell for more, but you've convinced me that the way to do this is to price this thing, and you showed me all the data. I'm tempted to take that data and go with the other guy, because now I'm already taking a hit on the price. Okay,
Right.
so I'm going to do that because you've convinced me. But I got somebody else that's he's got a big presence in the area too, and he's going to charge. So now I'm going to save 40 grand, because I was thinking 2.6.
I get it.
Now I'm down to $2 million. Okay.
I get it, Paul. Let me ask you, if you don't believe there's a magical fixed price, what is it that gets you the highest possible price?
I mean, I think marketing is going to help. I think the way somebody shows the house is important. I want to stick around and make sure it's done right.
Just based on our conversation,
Yeah.
Paul, it is clear to me you are a negotiator.
Yeah, I mean, sure. That's
Do you
right.
believe negotiating makes a difference?
Sure. I mean, I don't think there should be a fixed price on your commission either.
I appreciate that. And this is why I like working with you. But it's also, Paul, the reason I have to say no to you is because if I say yes, you shouldn't hire me.
Okay.
If I can't even negotiate for my own commission, my own hard-earned compensation, what am I going to do for your money?
Yeah, I kind of get that.
Just tell me this, Paul. If you can tell me this, we can make progress on this.
Okay.
How do these correlate? The person that can't negotiate for themselves is going to negotiate for you, thus make you more money.
Because I'm going to kick them in the rear end and make sure when I've already lowered my price to $2 million, I think based on the stuff you've told me, we're going to drive more traffic through the house. We're going to get, we're going to go 1999, whatever, so that when people put the search thing in for under $2 million, we're going to capture all those people. I think your strategy, I think we'll get over, we'll get over $2 million, but I'm going to be right here. I'm going to be shoulder to shoulder with the realtor that's charging 1.5. And when he says, hey, let's take it for $1,850,000, I'm going to be like, no way, my man, get back in there, do your job.
You are so good, Paul. But let me tell you something that's going to blow your mind.
Okay.
You want to hear one of the biggest secrets in real estate?
Sure.
By the time the agent you're shoulder to shoulder with gives you the number, it's already been pre-negotiated. I'm going to be getting you more money before you ever even have a chance to respond, because that's my job, Paul. When people ask me in an open house, you're right. The company's important. we already agree you love the company. The marketing's great. It's what gets people to that front door. But what gets you the most money, Paul, is what happens when people walk through that front door. And I'm what happens when they walk through that front door. And when they say to me, how much will the seller take? Classic question. You know what I say, Paul?
Yeah. Tell me.
I haven't even talked to them yet, but I know we'll take more. And they laugh, and I laugh, and I've established the floor. We're not, this house is worth it because the energy the agent gives off sets the tone from the beginning. So when that guy hit Mr. 1.5, that for whatever reason doesn't seem to value himself enough, does that bother you that he doesn't place enough value on his skills to ask for a full fee?
I mean, he sees 30, 40 grand as pretty good fee. We're going to sell this house, and I mean, you told me you think we'd sell this house and we'd get it under contract in a couple of weeks.
Guaranteed, but now we're talking about how much you walk away with. Those are two different conversations. So let me ask you, can you name one other industry, one other profession where the better people don't get paid more?
Probably not.
Paul, I'm the better person. And I would love to work with you, but I will never give up on making you the most money, which is why I cannot give away my hard-earned money. Because my goal simply, Paul, as I've told you, is not to do the most sales, but to make the most money for each client.
Let me ask you this. That's like, I also know you like to move fast. I like to move fast. You're going to cut to the chase with me. If I say, all right, forget the 1.5. I'll do it with you at 5. And if you're not doing it at 5, I'm done.
I got to say no, Paul.
So you're going to walk away from this deal.
We're talking about, so now we're down to a point. So what we're saying is 20 grand. If you don't think that my skill set's going to bring you at least an extra 20 grand, not to mention everything else we've talked about in defending your best interest, don't hire me.
Okay, but we're not talking about 20 grand because the other guy's going to do it for 70 grand less, and
Right.
I'm coming to all you talk about split the difference, right? I've listened to that guy. Okay, great. I'm not even splitting the difference. I'm coming all the way over to you. Okay, so you got to meet me somewhere.
It sounds like now, Paul, you just aren't going to feel good about this unless you get something.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Just give me something. Give me something to go back and tell my wife that this is the first time in my whole life in negotiation I didn't get a little something. So yeah.
Here's what you can give her. That you absolutely found the best guy that's going to make you the most money.
Okay, so you're going to say no at 5%.
I just can't do it.
Okay, there you go. And
No is the most powerful negotiating tool on the
Wow.
planet because it is, if he sees how and it's actually true, by the way. I am my client's warrior and negotiator. I mean, I had a client, by the way, a story is always better than a spreadsheet.
Okay.
We had this sale right down the hill here. $4 million, we were already setting a record. No, 4.5. We already were going to be setting a record by far in every way.
Right.
We got an offer for 4.3. My seller always goes straight to his brother who's an attorney. And then he comes back with me with exactly what his brother says. Right? And I go, here we go again. I say, so what'd your brother say? He said, he told me, sign it, you idiot.
Wow.
I said, don't sign it. I can get you another 50 grand, and this is all cash 2 weeks. You need at least 3 weeks lease back. You're moving everything to Tennessee.
Right, for
He goes,
sure.
if you screw this up, I said, I understand the moving parts. I'm going to get you the 50 and the 3 weeks. I got him the 50 and the 3 weeks. He is forever blown away because I live by what I say
Right.
I'm going to do.
Right.
And it makes all the difference. As a realtor, you have to decide your value and then gravitate towards that group of clients. When you're a discounter, you'll attract discount people, which comes with a different mentality.
Yes.
Now, I like Paul so much, and you're so amazing, and this house is so amazing. Sure, are there times where I'll just say, tell you what I'm going to do? Absolutely, Paul. I am not going to let you go back to your wife with nothing in hand. I'm here
That's
to
pulling
have
the
a
heartstring
long-term
on that one.
relationship. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to do it for 5.5. I'm going to take 3 because I'm your warrior and confidant. I'm going to give the buying agent 2.5 because they're used to that anyway. How's that? 5.5.
Okay. I mean,
do this.
Here's the thing. When I do a script with somebody like Jeffrey, I'm really putting I'm putting my heart and soul. Like this, it felt real to me.
Dude, you were amazing. I have some sweat here. No, really, because that's what they do, the hard ones.
Yeah, it felt real to me, and I was very uncomfortable saying no to you, you know, and I just wanted to say no so that we could get the really, really tough, because, you know, I'm already sold, right? I'm like, this guy's great. I know he's going to work his rear end off.
And that's your best point, Paul. Sorry to interrupt you, but you just said, listen, because that was the most important point of this whole podcast. I'm not going to lose it over commission. If I lose it, it's because you aren't convinced I'm the guy.
Yeah.
You just said it. I already know you're the guy.
Yeah.
So now the
true.
commission's a by the way. You don't lose deals over commission. Usually you lost it because you didn't convince them of your value.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's do, you know, and I appreciate the depth in which we went into this. Like, no, really, I mean, we could have just like, you know, but I think there's something to this, especially because you're so good at it. You know, another one that we talked about doing was getting the right price for the house. Should we do that one?
Sure.
Okay. Is there another one that you think is better?
No, listen, they're all so valuable. And we come, and again, you are going to have these every time. These are not a surprise. So if you're not ready for these, you're just not prepared. You're not a pro. You owe it to yourself, to your family, and your clients to be prepared and be a pro, because it's going to be the same questions every time. I look forward to these because I'm so prepared.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, and you know, and I think a lot of realtors are actually
fearing it.
Oh yeah, they're fearing it. I know we're going to get there, and you know what? I already know I'm going to give in. I know I'm going to give in. You know, I'm not going to let a $2 million sale go down the drain when everybody in the area is doing it at 4%.
When more than ever, we have to differentiate ourselves. Ironically, in a compressed market is when you should charge more than ever, because you've got to stand out.
Right.
Otherwise, you're saying, yeah, I'm a little better than the other guy, but you know, not really that much. So, no.
So I'm going to stand out by charging more.
Yeah. You want the best, you pay for the best. You don't, I get it. Listen, don't stop at 1.5. I know a guy will do it for nothing.
Okay. All right. Now I ask you the tough question outside of the scripts, because, okay, great. So it took you 7 years. It's a dramatically, you know, rocket launch shoot to $1 million net a year for sure. You know, in your first 6 months, because people are going to listen to that, they go, you know what, he's already making this, and he's already in this price point, and he's already whatever. It's easy for him to say. So what were you doing when you were a newer agent and you needed the money?
You know what? I always said, for me, you have to ask yourself, what is more painful? Doing the thing that you need to do, or dealing with the pain of not getting the result because you didn't do the thing you need to do? And for me, the pain of not doing what I committed to is always greater. So if it's about the money and you need the money, you will always need the money and you will never be comfortable. So you have to be able to not, and it's not easy, but you have to do it. You have to look them right in the eye. I mean, I had a guy in my car not too long ago, and he's like, oh, by the way, this is all going great, but I just want to clarify, he's a buyer, that you're going to give me a point back. And I said, thank you so much for your honesty and for bringing that up. No.
And you didn't say, and you can walk from here?
No, I just go, no. And he was like, speechless. And he's like, well, my last agent did it when we sold in San Diego. I go, wow, that must have been a nice perk. But I said, listen, what I can do for you is promise that I'm going to defend your best interest, find you the greatest house, negotiate on your behalf, make sure you're happy, and that you pay as least as you have to pay, and that you don't end up inheriting any repairs that need to be done. Is that enough?
Okay. You know, stop, hit rewind on that. You know, said very well, said very quickly. I think we'll have the editors, you know, unpack that for you. Really, I mean, that's now, and I'm guessing that this guy didn't say.
Move forward, had us over for the most amazing buffet dinner his wife cooked afterwards. They're great clients. They've referred us people. You have to decide what your value is, because if you discount, I just got a referral for a $10 million buyer, which is a big deal for me.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, but I can't move forward until you decide that you're willing to commit with me and only me. Mm-hmm. They've got 1 million agents, sending them listings, showing them random stuff.
Sure.
I said, I'm looking for the same mutual commitment. And if you're ready to do that, and she's still intrigued by me, because somebody who's worth 60, 80 million, they appreciate that. They're not respecting you because you're like, okay, whatever you need, let me send you this, run around, do whatever you want. No, they want a pro who goes like, whoa, you know.
I think people don't understand that as much. And one of the things that you said to me that was super cool was just if this is the way I'm treating our negotiation right now, how do you think I'm going to treat the person that's coming to buy your house, or how do you think I'm going to treat the seller? I'm going to say, okay, because what
And
a lot.
it's true, you know it.
Yeah, I know.
How many agents will go, oh yeah, just
I know
submit
it.
anything. He needs to sell.
Yeah.
And I'm like mortified. I take advantage of it with my buyers, but
Yeah.
like they will throw you under the bus in a second. And guess what? They'll feel good about it because you wanted me to discount, so why shouldn't I discount you?
Right.
I'm just being fair.
Correct. And the realtors and the clients get a sense of this. The realtors believe their job is to put the deal together, right, and make that deal close. And what you're saying to me is you're gonna really act as my fiduciary. You're gonna really go to bat for me. And it may be the other. And when I'm dealing with you, when you're representing me and you're a brick wall, if the other side needs to make the deal, maybe they'll cave on their side, but we're not going to cave on ours.
Well, my favorite thing to do these days with agents too is they're like, hey, what do you say we split this together? I say, I'll tell you what, we're not doing that. You're keeping your hard-earned money. Here's what we're going to do. What really matters to your client? What's driving this? Let's solve it.
Right.
There's a solution.
Correct.
Everyone wants to throw their money at problems instead of actually using their skill set and understanding it. But I always say too, I will negotiate for you, Paul, to the grave, but I'm also not going to cut off my nose to spite my face. If I know that this is a moment of the deal falling apart and I know that we're not going to get more from the next guy, I'm going to tell you to take it. Part of being a great negotiator is knowing when you need to take it.
Yep.
And we had another one where they wanted a $15,000 credit for a chimney. And that was all they asked for. Everything else was cool. My client's like, let's just give it to him. It's like, fine, it's a $3.5 million house. I said, no, give him nothing. She said, what do you mean give them nothing? Just at least split it. I go, no. They're like, why? I said, because I stood at the open houses. I promised you I would do all the open houses. And I heard the wife say, we hate fireplaces. We're putting our plasma there. They don't care about the fireplace because I'm listening. I'm processing. So we gave them 0 and they signed off.
I love it.
15,000 because I was willing to listen and take an extra minute. But then there's times where somebody's like so sensitive to rats, right? You think, oh, it's $300 to get pest service. But I can see that it's their biggest pressure point.
Yes.
What's driving them here? It's not always about a spreadsheet. I immediately say, you pay that $300, let's get this house buttoned up, traps out, dead carcasses out. This will be a deal killer for the wrong reasons.
Right, got it. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to ask a few specific questions about luxury. We all define luxury differently. Sort of a rule of thumb might be, 3 times an average sale price. How do you define luxury? And do you do something different on a luxury listing presentation, or you just do the same thing?
That's a great question, and I still haven't gotten to that really high level. Like I think in a lot of markets they say luxury is the top 10% of that market, right? And here we're talking about $300 million sales this year. There's, I got a more $20 and $30 million open houses that I can count,
Wow.
And I'm not playing, even though my mind is in that game and I know the inventory because I'm ready when my turn comes, but I'm not playing that level, and I think absolutely it's different. Just to give you one example, a couple people in our office just arranged a dinner because they narrowed it down in their database that there's 2,000 people on this planet that can afford their $115 million listing. And they arranged a dinner for these people. And, so that's at a whole nother level where you're operating, and tapping into databases where you get such specific information on people's needs and wants. Generally speaking, I think that every price point brings different awareness of people. I would say it's really as simple as thinking about it as a restaurant, right? When somebody walks into a taco stand, there's a different expectation than when they're having a 3-star Michelin meal. And you just need to adjust to that expectation.
Okay, so one of the things I'm getting is that, so tell me, what's your average sales price now?
This year we did a lot of 4 and 5, so we're probably right around $3 million this year.
Okay, so $3 million listing, a lot of people, even in LA, are going to consider a $3 million listing a luxury listing, but you're not. You're saying, hey, if it's a $10 million listing, I'm considering it. I'll do something different at the $10 million, but at my $3 million, I'm doing the Jeffrey thing. Right?
There you go. You just figured it out. Luxury. The definition of luxury is twice of what you're doing now.
Right. The biggest sale you've ever done, 2 times that. It's
but the short answer is, technically, I think there's very little difference. I mean,
Okay.
you're still, it's where you market it, but you're still marketing it. You're not always having open houses, obviously, at the really high end. You're doing more surgical precision, specific showings. You're doing a lot more targeted marketing, but,
Are you taking a different? So, we have a member of our audience here. They've just got what they consider to be their first luxury listing. Okay, they're in the business. They know what they take to their regular listing. What different or more should they take to the luxury listing, or is it just what they bring?
Well, we bring nothing, for starters. So because we just want to stay focused on the person. I think because there's always going to be somebody with a prettier package, a thicker package, a bigger package. So all I'm bringing is myself and a great energy, and my sole focus is you. So I would say the difference with any listing is just who you're talking to. I'm going to figure out what matters to you and focus on that.
Okay, Jeffrey. We have done over 800 podcasts. I have to say I haven't heard every single one of them. Okay, but I've heard a lot of them. I do not think I've had heard or hosted a podcast where the agent said they did not bring anything to the listing appointment.
We don't.
Okay. All right. You got it. You got to tell me what that is.
Here's the deal. I really believe this. There's two things. Number one, if you bring something, you're already in trouble because there's always somebody with something bigger and prettier.
Okay.
There just is.
Okay.
And if you want to define your skill set by how thick or tall or pretty your book is, you already put yourself at odds. Like you said to me, right? Oh, I got this guy over here who's done 1 million. That's because he probably showed you a really tall book. Number two, automatically, how can we connect if the focus is here?
Yes.
Hey, Paul. All right, here on the set. Nobody wants to focus here. They want to focus here.
Okay. Okay.
Paul.
Okay.
Tell me what the perfect scenario looks like. If you hire us and this thing unfolds, what's it going to look like if it's perfect for you? Paul, tell me what you have loved about living here more than anything else.
Okay. Okay.
Paul, tell me what is the most important thing that I need to make sure a buyer understands about this house. That's all that matters. Because if I think the most important thing is that you're in X school district but you don't have kids, you really don't care.
Right,
you
correct.
might think the most important thing is that you get to meditate to that ocean from this chair every morning. And I'm going to tap into that being important to you, and then that's going to become part of my marketing presentation.
Okay, hang on now. So we got the listing presentation. You're going to go with nothing.
Right.
Do you go with listing? What if I'm ready to? Okay, I'm ready to sign. You're going to tell me I can't sign.
Paul, it's been great meeting you. You need to get to dinner. I'll docu-sign it to you.
Okay. All right. Wow. All right. So first of all, and there's stuff that resonates with me here because one of the things, because I own a big brokerage, there are vendors that want to come and talk to me all the time. I try to avoid those conversations. Okay. And eventually, when one gets through, because Jeffrey Saad says you have to meet my guy, and I'm just going to say okay to that, right? The guy comes in, and you know what they do? They're showing me a tech product. Okay. You know what they do? They flip the computer open. And they start telling me all about their tech product.
And you already tuned out.
I'm done. I'm done. I actually had to tell a guy one time, you know what?
Stop.
Close the computer, you've lost me.
Yeah,
Talk to me.
He hasn't even asked you what your problem is yet. How can you know to solve it?
Okay.
How many of us go, yeah, please start your presentation. I love books and programs. Nobody likes
Yes.
that.
Okay.
It makes you actually curl up almost and want to run.
Right. Right.
I always say first to the person is, how much time do you have allotted for this? Because I want to respect that and be out of here. They say 30 minutes. 30 it is. And at 30, I'm ready to go. And they're like, no, I'm good.
Right.
Now I already know we're in a good place because that
Right.
30 was their safety valve.
Right. Correct.
It wasn't the real time.
Correct. And if you get to that 30-minute mark and we're really in flow, okay, and you're going to have the guts to say, hey, you know what, Jeffrey, I know you said 30 minutes. It's gone 32 minutes, so I'm going to get out of your hair. Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's good energy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, Paul. Oh my gosh, I just realized that we're at your 30. Are you going to be okay tonight? I got time, but I don't want to mess up your plans. No, keep going.
Okay. All right. That's the script for you. Okay.
Yeah.
got it.
Now I already know that we're on the right path.
Okay. So you're going to come to me on a listing appointment. You're going to bring nothing. You're going to connect with me, and then what?
And then, go through the general flow. Starts off with, in a perfect world, what would this look like for you?
because that really helps lay out what matters to you and the timing. Because sometimes they go, well, in a perfect world, I'll be sold in a year, and you're already going like, why am I even here? You know what I mean? Versus,
okay.
I need to be sold by Friday.
Okay.
They're going to give you more information. You are not learning anything when you're talking. I already know all about me. I don't need to know about me.
Wow,
I want to know
okay.
about you. So if I'm talking, I'm failing. If you're talking, I'm already winning.
Yes.
You know, that's it. So what's the perfect scenario look like? When's the last time you went through this? What'd you like about it? What didn't you like about it? How are you going to be making your decision? Are you going to be hiring the person that gives you the highest price? Because just so you know, we charge a lot. Is commission going to be a deal breaker for you? I get right to it, all that stuff. But
You're setting up the win for what we talked about on the commission conversation.
But our listings can be as short as 15 minutes and as long as 2 hours. It all depends on you and what you need and what you're saying. Because, you know, a lot of people are just like, they've already made their decision.
Yeah.
You're spending an hour convincing them not to work with you.
Yes. Okay. I like that. See, here's the thing. I know one of the things we talked about before was the superpower thing, right? So I know what superpowers I have. I know which great things I'm going to do. I have this great plan on how I'm going to sell Jeffrey's house, right? And so I go in and I really want to tell you how great I am and what I'm going to do, but that's a mistake.
I make them beg to find out about me. That's my litmus test, is that they just won't stop asking about me because I'm not talking about me.
Yeah.
And guess what? Then they're listening. Because they're ready to hear about me. Nobody wants to hear about you if you haven't told them about you first.
Yes.
You know, we're all human beings, and it's like when you're interested in me, I just like you more, as you know, you're a master of this stuff, and then I do want to hear about you.
Yeah.
So, and I even say to them that when they say to me, well, tell me about your marketing. You know what? My marketing doesn't even matter until I fully understand what's important to you.
Okay. All right. So you're going to even resist the question once you get it.
Yeah, because it's
okay.
like, I need to know, and then I'll even be intrigued. You know, and I try to even be more intrigued than I really am, like looking up and thinking and letting them know. I think, you know, Paul, you've mentioned this marketing a few times. It sounds like that's going to be the most important thing for you. Should we focus on the marketing?
Sure. I think marketing's super important.
And then we'll start talking about that. You know, but or I'll say like, I can see that you've already made your decision. Are you ready to work with us?
I like it. That's
So
a
I don't want to
great
waste
close.
your time.
Yep.
For another half hour convincing you that we're the ones, because it seems. And by the way, here's a really powerful question. So Paul, why are Nadia and I here? Why do you have us here for this interview?
Yes. Yep.
And most agents are afraid to ask that, but when you ask that,
Yeah.
we had somebody literally say, well, clearly you've sold every house in this neighborhood. You've been coming to our door for ages. We like you. You seem calm and confident. Everybody. They basically gave my whole presentation. I was just like, so at that point, I knew I had to not convince, sell, or do anything besides. It was a 20-minute presentation. We got the listing.
This is a killer takeaway because what Jeffrey is doing is he's getting the person that he's talking to do the work for him. Because when I'm talking, it's normal in sales. When I'm talking, I believe what I'm saying because. Right? When the salesperson is talking, I'm putting this, like 50% discount on what's true. He's trying to convince me, right? So you unwait and wait to the other person and say, hey, so why did you have us come over?
Yeah,
right?
and the other thing too, agents can't believe I do this. The first question I ask is, well, I noticed Jeffrey represented you when you bought the house. Why wouldn't you just work with Jeffrey?
Right. I love it.
That is so powerful. And again, don't hide the elephant in the room. Ask it. Because right there they go, I'll tell you, this is what somebody said to me just last week. I'll tell you why. They haven't returned my call in 3 weeks.
Yes.
I'm not working with people who don't return phone calls. Almost hostile about it, right? Or, you know what? I love them, but they were out of the area. A friend recommended them to me, and I realized, we just weren't impressed. But you get the information because guess what? When they are planning on using that person and you're just there to add more info, you know really quickly.
Yeah. That's great.
And that's when I say, you know what, Paul, it sounds like Jenny is going to be best for you. Do you just need an extra price? Because I'm happy to just give you another price if that's what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. It's already making, what I've decided is, I'm going to list with Jenny. I'm just going to have Jeffrey come over and give me some more info. And when you throw that right out there, I'm always like, maybe I am interested in Jeffrey. I mean, that's the energy of it, right?
Right.
Rather than you coming in and go like, hey, you know what, Jenny's not so great. Let me show you the stuff we can do. Right, because now I'm like, let me defend Jenny.
Exactly,
right?
you got it.
It's different energy, different weight. So this is very unique stuff. I really, truly believe it's one of a kind stuff. I really do, and I'm so glad that you're offering this to the Rockstar Nation.
That's the goal.
Thanks again. So one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to go door knocking is I truly don't know what to say, and I don't know how to handle that sort of uncomfortable situation where the people, let's face it, don't want to talk to you. When people knock on my door, you know, I'm interested in what they're doing for a minute because I'm in the business, but other than that, I'm like, leave me alone. So, you know, the piece that Jeffrey did about what exactly to say and how to handle that, when I listen to Jeffrey do that live, I feel less stressed about door knocking. I really do.
Good.
Like I'm ready to door knock now.
Yeah, let's go.
You know, and before I wasn't, because I was thinking in door knocking that I was going to have to be, you know, shiny polished and, you know, how am I going to turn every no into a yes and all that sort of thing. And Jeffrey, to distill it, you know, it's like you're going to go in and you're going to knock the door and you're going to take the energy from them. The thing that you're going to get is you're going to hand them the materials, you're going to say your name, and you're going to wave. And a lot of times you don't want that more than that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And if there's any inkling of interest on their part, if they happen to have just been talking about selling or thinking about it, they're going to let you have a conversation. And if they're not, you want to get out of there anyway, and they hopefully will remember you, especially if you keep hitting it.
Got it.
Keep hitting it.
Got it. So you are not, you know, this is an important piece. I mean, it seems obvious, but, you know, you're not convincing someone to sell their house right now.
Yeah. You know, that's perfectly said, Paul. And that is probably one of the second biggest nugget of this whole thing is what you just said, Paul, which is we're not here to convince anybody. I'm here to facilitate your dreams. I'm a dream maker, but you have to first decide what has to happen. If you're ready to sell, it'll be the best process ever. I'm not going to convince you to sell. I've never sold anybody a house in my life. You walk in, you feel it viscerally, you want to live here, then that sets me in motion.
Yep. Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And it's never about the end result, it's the journey. If your whole focus is I'm knocking for dollars, you'll never win. If you're knocking to be of service and to put prospecting into the universe, you'll win.
Interesting. And one of the things that I'm learning, of course, one of the things that I talk to my agents and my managers about is that they really sort of are knocking for dollars, but they're not. But that it's that mindset. So I'm thinking like, hey, how many conversations do I have to have? Right. If I'm coaching an agent, I go, hey, look, here's how many conversations you have to have in order to sell one house. So in essence, you know, I know your skill set, and so if you make this many conversations, you're going to sell that many houses. There is a solid science to it.
Absolutely.
But the mindset of it is not that. The mindset of it is, yes, I'm going to have these many conversations, but they're going to be helpful conversations.
You're one of the greatest businessmen I've ever met, always been a mentor to me, yet all you ever do is ask intriguing, great questions, which is why you're good at this. Even though you have financial plans, it never feels that way. And that's the difference.
Sure. And, you know, one of the pieces in that, I don't know if we can translate this, is, you know, I do call the people that I find interesting too, you know. And maybe in being the realtor, one of the things you did is you said as you were walking away, which I was already, because I don't want the door knock. Okay.
Right.
So Jeffrey's already, you know, he's like, oh, he sensed that he's walking away. And as he was walking away through one of the scripts, you're like, oh, and you know, if you ever have any projects, like, you know, construction projects or whatever, I have great referrals. And immediately I'm like, oh, well, actually I have that one wall that needs plastered.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, can you come back? Because
and I've gotten those email follow-ups. They called the car. She goes, I'm sorry I was short with you at the door. That's exactly what she said. We are planning on doing a project. I referred her to somebody. She's still thrilled to this day. Hasn't sold yet. But
I love it.
I am clearly top of mind.
I love it. Okay, so let me. So one of the other things that you mentioned, which is the first time I heard it, so that makes it cool because I've been in the business a long time. You talked about head knocking. So you got door knocking, now you got head knocking. Talk to me about head knocking.
You know, as a realtor, we are blessed and cursed with the same thing, which is that you are always on.
Yeah.
We are so blessed to have this fluid lifestyle where you can go anywhere, do anything, make any amount of money. It's beautiful, but also that's why you're always on. You know, head knocking, I'm at a car wash, right? And this guy standing next to me, I'm looking. He's in this suit, bow tie, like just tight. I was like, and I literally looked at him and I just said, and it was very sincere. I go, that is your car, right? And he laughs and he smiles. He goes, yeah, how'd you know? And I said, because anyone that looks that good has to drive that car.
Right.
He laughed. We started talking. Got his information. Sure enough, he wants to buy a $4 million house. You know, so it's just about always being engaging
Yes.
and intrigued by people. And you're good at reading people too. And that's why I love coming from the restaurant business, because it is a hospitality business. It's a service business. And when you're aware of people and you make people comfortable, then you have conversations. When you have conversations, you sell houses.
Got it. Love it. Okay, head knocking. We got it. I always thought head knocking meant something else, but hey, I'm from Pittsburgh, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's how you get them to buy, right?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so let me shift gears a little bit. You have a lot of experience, and I'm wondering if you were talking to the Jeffrey Saad that was a rookie agent, what advice would you give yourself?
It's a great question and a super hard question, right? Because I think we all want to paint our biographies like we planned it so beautifully, right? Like, here's exactly what I thought would happen. And the truth is, I was like, I had no other choice, so I had to make it work, you know, and it worked. But I would say, because I love my life and I'm grateful, I would probably tell myself the same stuff I've just spent the last hour with you talking about, because it worked.
Correct.
You know, but I would also tell myself, don't ever stop being a student. The moment you think you're the master is the beginning of your downfall. Because if you stay in student mode and in learning mode, you'll always be curious and you'll always be getting better. I would tell that self the art of Kaizen, better every day, just a little bit. If you can be 0.1% better a day, you're 37% better a year.
Wow.
You know, so just remember, you know, you want to lose weight, eat your cake on the treadmill for the first week. Just start.
Yes.
Then set the cake down. Then turn it on and go a little faster. You know, you're not going to make 20 door knocking sales next week, no matter how hard you try. You're not going to change it overnight, young Jeffrey, I would tell myself. So just be on the journey, be consistent, and be better every day.
And the same advice, I guess, goes for, as a general matter, for the agents that are listening. What one piece of advice would you give them to drastically increase their business? Is that the same answer? Is it a different answer?
My answer would be you, uniquely you, because everyone else is taken. Oscar Wilde, not Jeffrey Saad. But I love that quote, because like, you got to be your authentic you. You know, if I try to be the $1 million agent in the suit, that's not who I am, clearly.
Right.
You know, bring your authentic self. Don't look at your phone for the first 2 hours after you wake up. Start your day off bringing your best self. Which is a whole other podcast we can do. But really, that's crucial, because all the technique in the world doesn't matter if you don't come from a good place.
And one of the things I always talk to managers and agents about is very similar. I call it superpower. Everybody has strengths. Everybody has strengths, and everybody has weaknesses. So what is your superpower? One of the things that Jeffrey said was he was talking about leaving a recipe on his notepad. Well, Jeffrey's a master chef and is known for that. That's his superpower. I'm not going to leave a recipe. I have to think of something else. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on my pad.
Perfectly said.
I'm going to think about it though, because I do have a superpower. It's not being a chef. You know, people might think, oh well, recipe's cool, but it's not cool from me. It's cool from you.
Because it's sincere. You know, the upside of your upside is far greater than the upside of your downside ever will be. Right? I love that. So
yes. Okay. I've never heard that, but I like it. I like it. The upside of your upside is way more than the upside of your downside. I like that. There's a fabulous takeaway. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have some experience competing on the Food Network, right? Going in and you have how many other chefs? 11 other chefs or something like that, if I remember right.
Elimination.
Process of elimination. Now, Jeffrey, if we put you in a new city, okay, which you have experience with, but I'm only going to give you a $2,000 budget. I'm going to give you your cell phone, and we're going to pay $2 million to the person that does the most sales 6 months from now. What are you going to do?
That is awesome. First of all, I would do that show with you, because that would be so cool. Okay, so I got $2,000.
Yes, $2,000. $2,000 cell phone, 6 months. Sell some houses. We're gonna follow you and the other 11 around, and the person that sells the most houses is gonna win $2 million.
All right, number one, I'm gonna go straight to the neighborhood that I gravitate with, specifically the micro hood, where I'm comfortable being, where I want to be. Because if you feel like you fit, that's the first step.
Okay.
Number two, I'm gonna go to the key restaurants and coffee shops and find the owners that are the mayors of
Wow.
their area.
Okay.
And I am going to introduce myself and see how I can be of value to them.
Okay.
And make myself have a presence there, because
Okay.
that's going to be the quickest way to get in with connectors.
Okay.
And make the most headway.
All right, I think that's amazing. So I'm gonna slow it down just a little bit. Okay, great advice. I buy it. Now, what do I do? Because I'm gonna go to the coffee shop. How do I add value to the coffee shop owner? What am I gonna do to get the coffee shop owner to be like, hey, Paul Morris is cool?
That's a great question. I'm going to start off by understanding what's valuable to them.
Okay.
Funny enough, I did this in Beverly Hills.
Right.
I met the guy who was kind of the king of Beverly Hills, lunchtime place.
Okay.
And I said, hey, just want you to know, I'm working right down the street. I'm a realtor. I'm super on top of it, making great headway. But funny enough, I used to be in the restaurant business, and I got to tell you, I love what you're doing with ABC. And then he started asking me questions. I said, yeah, I was actually a partner. We had 15 restaurants. Well, he wants to grow his business. So I immediately was like, how do I add value to this guy? So I started sharing some of my restaurant experience. So I'm always going to look for how to add value to them, which automatically brings it back to you.
Okay.
You know, people want to help. And also, I think you even taught me this. When you ask somebody for their help or advice,
Yes.
they become committed to
Sure.
your success.
Sure.
So I'm going to also be honest and say, hey, I'm here.
Sure.
I could use your help if you know anybody. I'm going to have to fast forward some of this
Sure.
stuff to win the.
Asking a simple favor. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's influence, like you say, right out of. I think that's as far back as Dale Carnegie for sure.
Yeah.
Asking a simple favor that people can then feel good about doing for sure. What else is interesting to me is that when I wanted the very specifics of getting that restaurateur or that coffee shop person to help you, you went right back to your superpower. So I cannot get that person to like me by giving them restaurant tips. So don't hear, I don't want our audience to hear,
Right.
okay, so I don't have restaurant tips, so how am I going to, but
They're going to go, you're a fashion designer, you're an interior designer, you're going to go to all the coolest new fabric and rug shops and
Yes.
furniture stores.
Yes.
I love what you have going on here. I'm planning on selling houses in this neighborhood. Are you interested in staging? Are you interested in a package deal where you'll supply the furniture?
Right.
So find the fit and create, synergy.
So that's a phenomenal game show. I would bet on Jeffrey as the winner for sure, no question. But Jeffrey and I, we now have our new show idea, so that's cool. But I want to say, my sincere gratitude for you coming out here today, taking your time, sharing all this amazing information with the Rockstar Nation. I mean, we had everybody, in our live audience was like, wow, this is great stuff. So I'm totally fired up, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Anything for you,
Okay.
Paul. Awesome.
My pleasure. Okay.
Rockstar Nation, thank you for listening to Real Estate Rockstars. Listen, I need a favor. If you find this free content helpful, if you find our downloadable items from each guest helpful, please, I need you to pull out your pointing finger. Yes, the one finger that points at people, and hit subscribe. Yes, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better we look in the ratings, and the easier it is to get guests like Robert Kiyosaki, Barbara Corcoran, all the players that are on $1 million listing in the different cities. All that stuff makes it easier the more subscribers we get, so please subscribe. And listen, there's a lot of places you can leave comments. There's a lot of places you can like. We're on Facebook. We have an Instagram page. Instagram page is I am Pat Hyben. The Facebook is Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Feel free to leave us comments there. The most popular form of commenting seems to happen on YouTube. Yes, for whatever reason, it's a very open environment. So just go to YouTube and go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Leave us comments there. Some of them we will read on the show. We love your feedback. So thanks, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. Oh, and also, listen, if you're going to subscribe and you haven't already left a review on iTunes, please do that too. Have a great day, and thanks so much, Rockstar Nation. I really appreciate you.